Hey, there's a lot of misconceptions about scouts with special needs and disabilities. Let's talk about it. Hey, ScouterStan. Let's talk about scouts with special needs and disabilities. But before we get into that, I want to thank all of the people that I met over this past weekend. That was awesome. We had the 100th anniversary for our council, and they decked out the dining hall into a museum. And at first I thought they wanted me to be part, a museum item, but old. So that wasn't it. They wanted me to be a docent, so I got to meet a lot of people. And I talked until my voice left me. Okay, it was tough, but we had a great time. And it was amazing. We had such a good turnout. Thousands of people came out to see all of the great activities. We set world records. We shot off fireworks. We did all kinds of stuff. It was awesome. And and if you're in the local Central Florida area, you probably were there. So let's get into scouting with special needs and disabilities. Now, I've been in scouting for a little while, and I've always thought that the special needs had its own course, its own requirements, all that stuff. That's not true. Scouts with special needs or disabilities, they can join a regular troop. In fact, that's recommended because it's the same requirements. Everything that all the other scouts do, the scouts with special needs and disabilities also do. The thing is that they go at a slower pace. It depends on what they're dealing with. There's a lot of times when a scout has a super duper challenge, and when you have all those requirements, they don't make them easier. They're the same. They're the same for everyone that goes through scouting. It's the same process. Now, in some cases, there may be a necessity to have a group effort. So there might be a reason for an all-disabled troop. That's fine. Or a pack. Those are fine. But it might be because the charter is with, say, a blind school or a deaf school. So that's something that they might just do for their students. This will also give them the ability to pool their resources, their equipment, that kind of thing. And that's true with any unit. If you can pool your resources and have a great program, that's the way to do it. As I said earlier, the requirements are the same for everybody in scouting. Now, there are some exceptions. Now, realistically, there has to be some adaptations. Now, this is handled within the Guide to Advancement. I will put a link. There's a thing that says more. You click that and something comes up somewhere. But there's links in there to that guide. Section 10 is directly about scouts with special needs or disabilities and how to go about the process of maybe changing a little bit of the requirements. Okay, now that has to be approved. There's a committee that's involved, there's council that's involved, so you have to go through that process. Other than that, the scout is expected to do everything according to the book, okay? Now, there are some exceptions when you get into Cub Scouts. In Cub Scouts, the Cub Master and the Troop Committee are involved. They may come up with 1 or 2 adaptations for that individual. Now, this small change is to keep within the spirit of the requirement. So that might be, it might even be more than what's required. But this is an alternate so that they can achieve. Now, when you get into a troop will need to fill out a written request to change a requirement. Now, this is just for the ranks between Scout, Tenderfoot, Second Class, and First Class. These must be approved by council through the advancement advisor for the council. There's a committee that will go over that. It's always good to write in what you think would be a good substitute for that scout. There are other requirements, so definitely follow the guide to advancement. There's a PDF link in the description, so you can go there and find out all of the details, all of the forms you're going to need to get that approval. Now, the requirements for Star, Life, and Eagle are the same. There's no changing any of that structure. Those requirements that are in the book are there for a reason. There may be a need to change maybe one requirement in a merit badge, and that is handled in that written process that's all spelled out within the guide that's in the description. Now again, keep in mind that all three ranks, Star, Life, and Eagle, have to be done as written. Those requirements that are in the handbook are the same for all scouts. As a youth leader, a leader of youth in a group, there might be some hesitancy to take on scouts with special needs or a disability. But a lot of times this becomes a driving force within the unit. After all, they're doing the same requirements, same things. And it might take a little longer, and and if they're struggling through it, there's a lot of adult leaders that can help with that. But the adult leaders might be hesitant too. And this is where the adult leaders need to work with the parents. The parents and guardians of these special scouts have to know what's going on. Now, that's really important that you get that at the beginning of their scouting journey. There needs to be a parent meeting. And in this parent meeting, you need to go through that process that you do with all the new parents. But this one, you want to make sure that you cover certain points. And this is very important. You need to address behavioral issues. Is there something that the scout sets them off? Okay, you need to find out what that is. You need to know from their parents, from their guardian, from the people who take care of the scout. You need to know what's going on. You need to know if there's a discipline problem. You will also need to know any kind of dietary or eating restrictions. Okay, that's important. That should also be on the health form. So the health form should be a part of this. That C part of the health form could give you more information about their disability. Maybe even a letter from their physician. You need to talk with the scout's caregiver, parent, guardian. That you need to talk to them about any living or health issues they may have, especially when it comes to hygiene. When it comes to washing hands, and you're at summer camp and it's shower day, that kind of thing. Those are the things you need to work out with that parent. In fact, let's just call it parent. That's the group, okay? That's the person who is taking care of this scout. The parent needs to tell you about transportation. There may be the need for specialized vehicles and that kind of thing. And of course, they are going to be doing the transporting to the meetings, to the events, to the camp. They are the ones being that'll be expected. That's part of making sure that their scout gets the experience that they deserve. Unit operations, the calendar, all the standard stuff you would give any new scout coming into the troop or the pack. They need to know all of these things. The crew is the same way. So all three of those types of units need to have an orientation of all of the basics, the calendar, all of the service projects that go on, all of the things that are common within the unit. In this meeting, it's important to go over with the parent all of the guidelines that are for the unit, making sure that they can adhere to those guidelines. And a big part of that is making sure that there's medical contact information. Unit has all of the leaders, all of the adult leaders in the unit should have at least the parents' contact information. They should also have medical forms, list all the things that they need to be watchful for. One of the big tasks for adult leaders is to take care of all their scouts, and there's no exception here. It's also good to know if there's a history. Have they been with other units? If they're joining a troop, were they in Cub Scouts? If they're joining a crew, were they in a troop? You know, that's something, the history of the scout. That's important to know also. Scouting is an incredible adventure for everyone involved. The youth and the adults both enjoy all of the wonderful things that are in scouting, all of the great values of scouting. That's the wonderful thing. And when I first researched this, I didn't know. I thought there would be a totally different program. It's not. It's the same program. There might be one or two exceptions. That's it. That's the wonderful thing. They can succeed, you know, and it's not like we made it easy for them for some reason. So, you know, it's just the same difficult path for all the youth. So that's one of the neat things about scouting. And what's great about it is that we constantly have fun. That's the wonderful thing. I have heard so much laughter and have had so many good times in scouting. You know that. That's one of those things that we do. And we do fun things. And one of those fun things is the Scouter's Joke of the Week. What's an astronaut's favorite part of the computer? The space bar. It's amazing. Some of these are great. You can tell that at Cub Scouts. You don't have to explain. They know more about keyboards than we do. So that's one of those things. And keep scouting fun. And you do such great work. And don't be afraid of scouts that have special needs, that have disabilities. These are things we can do. We can do this. It's more important that we focus not on what they can't do, but what they can do and what they can achieve. It's amazing. And that's true for all scouts, really. We need to focus on that, more of a positive view. And I know you do. So until next time, I will see you on the trail.